Hey, this is Shelby and Quinn here at the Russell in East Nashville with Randall King. So you're not new to Whiskey Riff and our fan base. I went to go see what the first article we ever wrote about you was, and it was in March of 2019.
Wow.
And it was about your single, Taking Me a Heartbreak, which is one of my favorites of yours, actually, still to this day. So I just thought that was really cool that it's been over 5 years of us covering your music.
That's awesome. I didn't even know it was a single in 2019. I was thinking it was earlier than that, but
does it feel like it was not too long ago that single released?
No, I don't know. It feels like it was 10 years ago.
Oh, really? One of those things where it feels longer.
I mean, it was pre-COVID, so I think COVID made everything feel like it was
aged us all.
Yeah, 5 years. Wow, that was the first article, huh?
Yeah, there's one about you.
And that article also had a Garth Brooks quote in it where he said that this kid is what country music is all about to me. Is that something where, like, you had met him before then, or was that a compliment that he just gave?
Well, I think at that point, if you guys had that article down, that would have been, was it the beginning of 19 or end of 19? Do y'all remember?
March. Yeah.
It was March of 19, so the beginning. So at that point, my album had come out in 2018, May of 18, my self-titled record that had Taking Me a Heartbreak, Mirror Mirror, Tugging on My Heartstrings. And that record had come across Garth's desk. My publishing company at the time was BMG. Chris Oglesby was my guy over there. And he'd been pitching all my songs to Garth, hoping I could get a Garth cut and seeing if there was any kind of relationship there. And he'd been sending my songs, and Garth was digging what he heard, and he was very complimentary about every single song. And I was like, man, just love this kid's voice. And Chris asked me, I was like, well, would you want to write with him sometime? And in super classy, humble fashion, Garth, I still have the email. Garth said, yeah, man, if he'd be willing to take the time and come write with me. Well, hell, Garth, hold on, man. What do we got that day? Move it. So we scheduled it out, and I got to go write with Garth. And we'd given him the record. I got to sit there and write with him in the studio where he cut everything that he ever recorded. And we wrote a song called The Road I'm On, which is the title of his Netflix documentary and his Amazon documentary. And it made his record. He was opening the shows with it, and we just created a really strong, solid relationship. Like he's one of the best, most humble, kindest people I've ever met. And he put that quote out, I think, before we even wrote. He'd talked about that. So it's a really cool thing to know that, like, one of the legends you've looked up to growing up that's influenced you a lot thinks that much of you.
That is really cool. And that's, again, 5 years ago. You're probably near the beginning of your career, but I don't think, like, as a Whiskey Riff fan, that I know your country music star origin story. So I know you're from Texas, and I don't really know how you got your start or anything, so you can kind of explain that?
So I started in Lubbock, Texas. And I was waiting tables at Texas Roadhouse. And I just graduated college from South Plains College. I went to Texas Tech for a year and a half. My daddy wanted me to get a business degree, and that wasn't for me. So I got one good semester at Tech, and I stayed there for 2 more, failed out. Spent too much of my daddy's money. I still remember the phone call of calling him going, hey, I'm sorry I spent all your money, but I'm not going to go to Tech anymore. Went to South Plains, got a degree in sound technology, learned how to produce records, hit the road, quit Texas Roadhouse, started laying floor and tile and carpet and everything on the side just to pay the bills while I went and played 3-hour bullshit sets in New Mexico, anywhere they could book me, because I was booking myself, managing myself. I was doing everything, and came out with an EP called Another Bullet back in 2016. We'd been touring for 2014 and 15 on basically nothing. Put out a little 5-song EP called Another Bullet, and we were drawing like 50 people a night into these bars when we'd go headline. In 16, started working with a man named Scott Gunner, he's my day-to-day manager. He works under a man named Howie Edelman, who's my overall manager. who manages Cody Johnson, Roger Krieger, and myself. So I signed on with them, started working on with them full time at 17, and we just started hitting the small circuits where we could, opening for Cody. And then in 2018, they handed me the keys to produce my own record, my self-titled record here in Nashville, and threw me to the wolves and were like, if you produce your 5-song EP Another Bullet back in Texas with nothing, see what you can do with a full-length record.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit. Well, here we go. Like, this is big boy pants on, you know? So I stepped to the plate and we knocked out 13 songs in 2 days.
Wow.
Did my self-titled record, put it out, and a song called Mirror Mirror blew up. That put us on the map. And here we are. We started, instead of 50 people, we went from 50 to 150 to 250 to 350 to 1,000 cap, 2,000. So I just slowly built it over the course of 5 years. And here we are, 3 records later.
Which obviously that's a great transition into, speaking on numbers, you've got a global streaming count of 400 million, and that just continues to grow every day.
That's wild.
So, like, whenever you hear that,
crazy.
what goes through your mind?
Blessed, man. I've learned in this industry, like, when I started out, everything I said to anybody that ever worked with me, ever came on to the team, whether I hired them, band and crew, or whether it was me looking my management in the eye, my booking agent in the eye, or my label in the eye, I've said it to everybody. Nobody in this industry can outwork me. Mm-hmm. They just can't. And I've worked myself into the ground doing this, but it's an amazing thing to know that it don't necessarily matter how hard you work. What matters is if the people believe in you. What matters is if your fans believe in you. They're showing up. Those numbers prove that the fans believe in it, and that's what matters to me. So without them, it don't matter how hard I work out. You can work yourself literally into the ground. You need them.
That's right. And the fans were certainly showing up on the international leg of your Into the Neon tour, right?
Yeah.
So, do you feel like that trip that you took to do those shows, that probably played a role in growing those numbers for you?
Oh yeah, 100%. That trip to Europe is why I sound like this. It wore me out. I ended up having to cancel a couple shows last weekend just to try to get some rest and recovery from it, because it's a hard thing to do to go overseas. We had already been out, all summer long. We've been hammering it. We had 1 weekend off in July, and then we were out and about up in the Midwest for 4 weeks in a row. Came back, flew straight to Europe, did a 3-week tour over there. And we our first 5 shows were outside of the UK. We did Oslo, which is Norway, Sweden, Copenhagen, Amsterdam, and Cologne, Germany. So we did 5 dates out there, sold them all out. One was a festival. So we kicked off the run with 5 sold out shows, and Amsterdam was 1,000 people packed in there. Double encore, just unbelievable night. I put Amsterdam in my top 5 shows of all time, and it wasn't that we kicked ass; it was the fans, dude.
What is the difference between fans overseas versus fans here?
I think over there, man, when they know you're coming, they dig through everything that you got. Mm-hmm. They want to know, and they do their studying. We were over there. I played off my self-titled record. There's a song called "Reason to Quit," which is the last track on the record that we barely ever play. Over there, they knew every single word when I played it and sang it back. So I mean, and that happens every now and then over here, but like they study your B-sides, your C-sides. They know it all. Like, it's cool.
Do you think that's just because they don't get a lot of country artists through, so that when someone's coming, they have no choice but to make sure they know everything?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's for sure. I think that's absolutely the way it was. I think right now, everybody's going over there to tour now. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people heading overseas, whereas we were one of the first to go out and stick our neck out and go risk the risk rewards. You know what I mean? See what would happen. And we went in September last year and sold out everything. and came back over this year, still doing it. So I think for them, they're just looking at it like something they don't get a whole lot of. But whatever they do, man, they do it full blown, full passion.
Some other recent success you've had is a couple of viral songs on TikTok. I'd love to hear your take on that. I'm sure you've seen the trends all over the place with you and a honky tonk.
Yeah. And it's spiked back up a little bit, which is wild. You and a honky tonk went nuts, over the span of about 5 months. That song was all over TikTok. For a month straight, I know it was the number one song for country. When you like create a video and you type country, it was the first video. It was the first song that came up, and it was that song and Tennessee Orange at the time. It was insane to see how many videos were made in that 5 month span. There's like 35K total videos that were made with you and a honky tonk right now. And I think probably 32K out of that was like all within like a 2 month span. It was nuts, dude.
And I don't know about you guys, but I'm an avid TikTok user, and that's just how many times people use the video, not how many times people scrolled and heard that song.
Oh yeah, like if you're a fan of country music, you heard "What Drives Me Crazy," like you heard it.
Yeah.
So it's always fun, especially when we went on tour with Cody in the fall of 22, when that song was like really up there on TikTok. We did some direct support dates with them out in Florida. And as soon as, we saved it last song. So we're going through all our songs, and everyone's like, oh, cool. Oh, yeah, I kind of know Mirror. That's cool, man. Who's this guy? And it was like, what drives me crazy? And you just saw the crowd like,
light up.
Oh, it's that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. So, it did a lot for us, man.
Yeah. I don't know how many times I've been to shows with people, and they're like, I don't know who this artist is. I'm like, I promise you, you know their music. You might not know their name yet, but you know their music.
Oh yeah. As soon as you hear a little bit, that was the thing for us for even with the self-titled record. There were years where I would go to the merch table and I would sit there and talk to people, and they'd be like, "Dude, I've been a fan for your music for years, but I had no idea it was ever you." And I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Man, we've heard your stuff, we've listened to your stuff, but like I didn't know it was Randall King." I was like, well, how does that work? Like, we thought it was George Strait. And I was like, that's cool, but like, hey, I'll take the compliment. But at the same time, it also says like the song and then the artist name. There, man.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it would take them. I had that happen to me all the time. People just be like, we knew the songs, didn't know it was you.
Right. Which we've talked about some past shows of yours, but one that's up and coming that we're excited about. I think this episode's going to air after you play at King Fest, which is taking place at the Nashville Palace.
Heck yeah.
So is that something that you have circled on your calendar? Is that a venue that
absolutely
you love to play?
So King Fest, this will be the second year for us to do King Fest out at the Palace, which we love the Palace. Man, the Palace was one of the first places in Nashville I got to play as a headliner. The first place I ever played in Nashville was, wow, that's a statement. The very first place and first time I ever played a show in Nashville was direct support, opening for Cody Johnson at the Ryman in 2019.
Yeah, what a show.
My debut in Nashville was a hell of a thing, which was really special to think about. Then we got to come out here. I think we sold out Cahoots twice out in Lebanon. And then we're like, all right, let's try a spot in Nashville, see how it goes. And we'd kicked around venues. There's Brooklyn Bowl, there's Marathon, there's all these places. And I believe it was Howie. Howie goes, man, you guys ought to think about Nashville Palace. Like, what's going on at the Palace anymore? And we're like, I was like, what the hell's the Palace? Never been out there. It's right there across from the Opry. The scoreboards is out there. It's a whole different kind of like music element that's out there. Like Alan Jackson's band goes out and plays in one of the little bars that are in that circle out there. And when you go out to the Palace and you realize like, this is a true honky tonk. Like this is the Gillies of Nashville. And I was like, this is where I want to build. This is where I want to do it. So we went in. My first show there, I think, was fall of 2020. And we started just once a year, going in, hitting it. And then we do King Fest back in Texas, which has had great success. I was like, why don't we do a King Fest Nashville and just try it out and let this be the building blocks? And so we're doing 2 nights. Did it last year 2 nights, this year 2 nights. I think Friday we got Walker Montgomery, Brian Fuller, and then us. And we're separating the nights not only with artistry, but I was like, well, I don't want to do the same set 2 nights in a row. So the first night, we're calling it the tonk era. So we got everything pre-Into the Neon. And it's a set based on snippets of each album and EP that I've ever released. The different era of my career, even from a self-titled record, Another Bullet EP, on the Honky Tonk Bullshit EP, the first singles that I ever dropped with Warner, all the way up to Shot Glass, my sister's EP. I think we fit in the night with my sister's EP.
Okay.
And so we'll do nothing from Into the Neon except for the current single.
Okay.
And then the next night is the Neon era. So we do a set that's based 95% on Into the Neon.
Well, I didn't know that. Now I have to go both nights.
Yeah. And then Saturday night we got Braxton Keith and Mackenzie Carpenter.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm excited. Yeah,
That'd be big.
I went last year, and I think, obviously it incentivizes fans to go both nights. But now, I'm really excited because that's the worst part about going to shows as a fan is you can't always hear everything they play. It's just not possible unless you're Taylor Swift.
Unless you go 2 nights.
Yeah.
Unless you go 2 nights to Randall King's concert, and you got everything pre Into the Neon and everything Into the Neon.
You mentioned Cody Johnson a lot, but you also were recently opening up for Tim McGraw. I'd love to hear about how those shows went, where you were, how he is.
That was unreal. Coming into country music as a kid, learning about it, becoming a fan. There's a record called All I Want. It's one of Tim's first records. I think it was his second or his third record. I want to say it was his third. Either way, that's the one that has I Like It, I Love It. I wore that record out as a kid. It was one of my go-tos. I'm pretty sure my daddy still has videos of me running around singing in my underwear with a cowboy hat on. I like it, I love it. And so to get to go out there and open for Tim McGraw was unbelievable.
It's a full circle moment.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And him as a human being, just he's humble and kind, just to put it lightly. But that weekend was my sister's death day anniversary. So I had it blocked. I wasn't going to do it. And those 3 offers came in. And Chad, my agent, called and he's like, I know you got it blocked. I know what the weekend is, man. But I can't not present you the offers. I was like, give me 3 days. Let me sit on it. And the first night I went home, was talking to Britt about it. And I was like, you know what? My sister she'd whoop my ass if I didn't take those shows. I know she would. She'd be upset. And I was like, I tell you what, I'm going to take them. And I only had 15 minutes each night. And I said, on the 19th, which is her death day anniversary, I said, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to play I'll Fly Away. And I'll close the night out with I'll Fly Away. And that's exactly what we did. And each night, Tim stood out there and watched all 15 minutes, every single night. And to me, that was a massive statement of who he is. Because that's a hard thing to do. He's a busy dude, even for 15 minutes. And every time I got off the stage, he'd come around the corner and shake my hand, talk to me. He's a badass, flat out.
And was he aware of the significance of those dates?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think he knew. I didn't really mention it to him. Didn't talk about it. I was a little starstruck. Had my foot in my mouth more times than not.
But you brought up your sister a couple times. Do you mind sharing that for people who might not know?
Yeah, I lost my sister April 19th of 2020. She passed away to complications due to a gastric sleeve that she had in 2013. She ended up her liver failed. The fall of 2020, I came out with a 5-song EP, 4-song EP that was dedicated to her with her name on it. So now when you Google her name, country music comes up. So she lives forever within country music, which is, she'd be a happy camper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Which obviously Around Forever is one of those songs that's included in the EP. It's such a visceral, emotional song. Anyone that's lost somebody, I think, can connect to that. And then you also kind of lay it out as like, even if they're not gone, like appreciate the time that you have. with
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
family.
If you got, if it's like literally Cody says, you got a chance, take it, right? So I mean, that song is absolutely it's a perfect picture of that. If you got a moment that you're in and you have people that you love around you, you make sure you take advantage of that moment, capture it, take it in. Don't let it pass by and don't blow it off. You never know when your last moment that you have with them is going to be.
Right. And making the most of moments, you've been on the road for years, right? So I'm sure you're a little used to it at this point, but is there still a process where like you are like, oh gosh, I've got to go out on the road again? Or is it something now that you're comfortable with?
As far as touring goes and being gone all the time, yeah, I mean, it's always a give and take. It's always a balance. You got to find balance with it. It's really easy to just work yourself to death. It's really easy to get caught up in numbers. It's easy to get caught up in, I got to do this, I got to do that. What's the next step? What's the next move? Instead of stepping in and just going, wow, well, this is where I'm at right now. And you have to remember to do that. You got to live in the moment.
Yeah.
So I have to openly make myself and force myself to take in the moment. Sometimes really, like Amsterdam was one of those moments where I just got to like sit there for a second on stage and just go, I'm literally halfway across the world. We just sold out a 1,000-cap room. I mean, they're going nuts. Like, and they knew everything. Like it was crazy. And I mean, they were all like that. They were all, every single show out there was just unreal to be halfway across the world playing country music. I'm a kid from West Texas. I'm from the Panhandle. Like I've known the flatlands and semi trucks my whole life. Like to be able to hop on a plane and go overseas and play in countries I ain't never been to. Like that is just, like I said, blessed.
And outside of those international shows, are there any places that you look forward to if they're on the schedule to go play at? Like, do you have any crazy stories like, we had a tour date in this city and this happened kind of thing that you can think of?
Outside of King Festival?
Well, just like asking as far as like outside of the international dates, because obviously those are something where you were able to connect with fans.
Dude, there's been some incredible moments all year long. Flagstaff, Arizona was one of my favorite moments this year. It was a surprise show to me. It was the first time that we ever booked that market. Sold it out. I think it was like 850, 900 people, something like that in there. Packed out, wild night, just screaming every single word. It's just one of those shows where like, you don't have to try. You don't have to work at it. Like you just get to go up there and have fun because they're there. They're ready to bring the energy for you. Flagstaff was one of my favorite ones. All these festivals, man, like all the Country Thunders. Country Thunders is always a blast. God, even this year we kicked it off with Steamboat. Steamboat was a blast. There's been a lot of highlights, man.
Yeah.
And then, of course, opened up for Tim McGraw. Last year we closed out the year getting open for John Party, which was spectacular, dude. Like, the arena so was sold out. Him and his crew and his band, everything. Like, they're just top-notch people, man.
Red Rocks.
Red Rocks, yeah.
I was at that one.
Red Rocks was incredible. I played I'll Fly Away at Red Rocks. And when I went into it, it was a rainy, drizzly day, and as soon as I kicked into I'll Fly Away, it cleared up and a rainbow came out.
Wow.
Then as soon as I ended the song, rainbow went away, clouds came back over, and I was like, that's a God moment. Like that's a full circle. That is unreal.
Now, before we talk more about your new music, I want to touch on football really fast. So
Let's go. Football. It's football time now. Let's go.
So you have your Cowboys hat on, and I messaged you from the Whiskey Riff Instagram asking you what your favorite football team was, and you said Cowboys and Chiefs, which is kind of cheating. But I need an explanation. I need the explanation.
Well, for one, I'm a Cowboys fan first. For two, it's really hard to be a Cowboys fan.
Yes.
I'm a diehard faithful. God, that's a tough organization to. They're the number one organization for letdowns because they always have the potential and they never live up to it. So I didn't get to see all the Super Bowls in the 90s as a kid. I came in at the Drew Bledsoe era. So that was about 05, I believe. And I saw Tony Romo come into play. I still remember his first game. And I was a massive Tony fan all the way up to when he got hurt in the preseason his final year. It's been tough, but I love the Chiefs.
I was going to say that's to make up for the Super Bowl.
100%.
You need to see someone win.
But I went to Texas Tech, right? Okay. So I watched Patrick Mahomes as a Red Raider.
There you go.
And loved Pat.
That's cool.
I always had a soft spot for the Chiefs anyway because the Chiefs used to be the Dallas Texans back in the day, right? Lamar Hunt and Tex Scram flipped a coin to see who was going to stay in Dallas because you can't have Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Texans. So they flip a coin, Tex Scram wins, Lamar Hunt goes out to Kansas City, starts the AFC. Now you got the NFC and the AFC. You got the Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys, and one of these days, I'm going to see them both in the Super Bowl, and I'm going to be like, I win no matter what. Exactly. I win no matter what.
Well, you clearly know your stuff, so we'll let it pass that you're a Cowboys and Chiefs fan.
Come at me.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. But we do want to talk a little bit about your new music, of course. What's this album's theme? Do you keep evolving the honky tonk sound? Is that something that you're always going to stick to and has a staple of your projects?
Absolutely. The honky tonk sound is who I am. I honestly don't know anything different, nor could I pull it off. One of the things I've always said when I first started out was I can't sell it. I can't be fake. I'm not up there acting. If I have to get to that point to do anything, I'll pull out. Like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
When I first started out in 2013 and 14, there was a record that I came out with under Randall King Band. And it was forceful. It was recorded in the basement of Texas Tech's library in their studio. And it sounded good. It was okay. But it wasn't me. It was sonics that were pulled in from an influence of the other members, and it wasn't Randall King. It was more red dirt rock country, to put it best. And I toured on it for like a year and a half, and I remember playing shows and standing up there singing the songs and going, I don't even believe in this shit. Why am I doing it? So I buried the record, changed directions, and I went back to being me. I went back to the honky tonk traditional roots. So going forward, you can expect more of the same because I don't know any different. I'm not trying for certain sounds. The only thing we did with this record was I felt like in my sound, I was missing an element of who I am. There's a Gary Allen-esque, early Dirks, grit and smoke that I felt like my records were missing. So this record, we went all grit, all smoke, and End of the Neon came out the way it did. It's a little more of a modernish take on my honky tonk traditional roots. The next record, I plan on it being a little more on the honky tonk side than the modern side, and
it's fine by me.
Just to throw it out there, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Honky Tonk Bullshit Volume 2.
Okay.
So you're going to get more of that what that honky tonk bullshit EP was.
Looking forward to new music, but I do want to dig up that old Randall King band album
find it.
too.
Can't find it.
Good luck.
I'm gonna
I buried the shit out of it. It's deep.
It's deep.
It's deep.
Okay.
Like Grand Canyon deep,
Gotcha.
but with dirt.
Awesome.
you
Well,
can dig
we're
that.
gonna. I'm still gonna try. We're gonna wrap up with what we're calling honky tonk rapid fire, brought to you by Ammunition Whiskey. So first question is, how do you drink your whiskey?
Well, I don't drink whiskey anymore.
So there you go.
'Cause I don't whiskey anymore.
More tequila guy.
I'm a tequila guy.
Okay.
How I drink my tequila? On the rocks.
Okay.
There we go. Fill in the blank. Sad country songs and blank make me happy.
Sad country songs and
Blank.
tequila.
There you go.
What are your favorite honky tonks?
God, that's hard because there's a lot of goodness. I mean, Billy Bob's, Grizzly Rose, the weed out there in Stillwater, I love that. Green Hall, yeah.
What's the key to a good honky tonk? What are you looking for in a good honky tonk?
I mean, it's just got to be it's got to be a darkness to it, right? Like the neon lights is what keeps it glowing, and it needs to be dim lit, smoky. Even if it ain't smoky, I guess nothing's smoky anymore. They take all the damn smoke out, but it's at least got to be dim lit, neon, dance floor.
When you walk into a honky tonk, what song do you want to hear playing?
All the girls all get prettier at closing time. That's all Gilly right there.
Do you have a favorite sad country song?
Man, that one's really tough. I would say two George Jones songs come to mind. He Stopped Loving Her Today for one, but what's that one? Just because I ask a friend about her. Oh, She Thinks I Still Care. That is one of my all-time favorites.
Good one. Do you have a go-to karaoke song? Is karaoke even allowed in a honky tonk? Does that make it?
I wouldn't
not
say it's allowed in a honky tonk.
Yeah.
No.
But
But
what's your go-to?
one of my favorite karaoke songs to see. Probably anything. I can rock Backstreet Boys.
Oh wow! Now I would like to hear that. I mean, not on the spot, obviously, but I mean, Backstreet Boys cover, Gentrified.
Everybody.
What are you doing whenever you're not playing music? What's something that you kind of just do on the side?
Man, when I get a chance, I love to fish. I don't get a whole lot of chances, but I love to fish. If I can get away, go hunt, shoot some bird.
There you go.
Call her good.
And last question is, what is your favorite thing to do while drinking whiskey, or in your case, tequila?
Man, one of my favorite things. I'm a people watcher, so I like sitting in the corner of a bar, sipping on tequila, and just watching the shit show.
That's a great answer. I love that. Yeah, I'm a big people watcher too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to Kink Fest this weekend, and also thank you to the Russell for letting us shoot here today.
Yeah.
And we'll see you this weekend.
It's gonna be good. Come on.